All right, the title of today's video is, what do you do if you need iPhone chips? Where should you go to find all the chips and connectors? And you can go get them from China, which is what a lot of folks do, but the chip prices and the chip quality that you get from China is kind of all over the place. I know that you guys have seen me buy chips from China, and then I'll get the whole strip and they look like they were swept up in a dustpan from the floor in a closet in Shenzhen somewhere. So I wanted to recommend my friend Louis Rossmann's relatively new chip supply website, so that you can find that at mailin.repair. So go over to mailin.repair and you can see what Louis has to offer. And the reason why I'm choosing to recommend him today is because I needed a chip that really nobody had, and he went and found it. So the chip that I needed was an iPad Pro backlight driver, and this was really hard to find. So he went, hunted it down, bought a bunch of them, and put it there in stock. So I think that's great, and I can tell that he's putting a lot of work into being a comprehensive chip source. So he's got this sorted out so that you can, find components for, all of these iPhones and MacBooks and whatever other devices he's going to stock. So he's done a really good job, and he has these things organized by the device or by the type of circuit that you're looking for. So if you need to source a chip or connector, especially in the domestic United States, go over and see what he has. He is doing a great job putting that together and is keeping it pretty affordable. So good job, Louis. And I will definitely buy those backlight drivers today. And thank you for going and hunting those down and getting those in stock, because that, I think, is going to be a pretty common fault. The Pro backlight drivers get really burned up when there's a short to ground on that line. So what are we going to fix today? Today we are going to see about doing some just data recovery jobs that happen to be here in front of me. So let's take a look at what we have behind door number 1. Let's see what the note says. This is an iPhone 6s. Yep, iPhone 6s. And it looks like maybe saltwater damage. It looks pretty bad. Let's see, iPhone 6s, water damage, incorrect screen, data recovery only. All right, sounds like a match. And a packing list. All right, sounds good. Shall we take a look at the board? I don't see any comments here, so let me see if I can go figure out what's up with that. I think this is probably live. Let's see. All right, I'm gonna go on a hunt here. Let's see what happens if we type. This might be kind of cool to see the chat in the actual stream, if that works. Let's go to the iPad Rehab YouTube channel, and let's click here. All right, so that seems to be, I think that's working. Okay. All right, so we will, let's go back here. We'll leave that to be Louis's site so that you guys can see that. All right, so we're gonna do data recovery because why not? We do data recovery all day, every day. So let's take a look at this board under the microscope. I'd made some adjustments here to the camera, and it looks like I need to tighten that up a little bit. All right, so let's take a tour of this board and see what we have going on. All right, so I see water damage. So this board looks pretty classically water damaged all up here on the top. That looks pretty horrible. And we can take off the sticker. So it looks good under here. And let's check out under here. I'm going to put a little heat on this bottom sticker so that it will come off nicely. So we'll see whether or not anybody actually goes to buy chips from Lewis. He thinks that that nobody does what I say, so I want to prove him wrong. I buy chips from Lewis, so there's that. Alright, let's get off this sticker. Yay, looks good under there as well. So, but because we see such severe water damage up here in this top corner, we're going to go ahead and take off the shields. Questions, you seen the guy who built the headphone jack in his iPhone 7. I think the whole world has seen the link to that. I started watching that video last night right before falling asleep. So I want to get back to that. But that sounds pretty fun. I mean, that sounds really fun. I would love to be able to have time to mess around like that. All right, let's take off these shields and take a peek. So I'm going to just use some hot air to get this shield off. I did order a camera to show kind of like hand and DC power supply view due to overwhelming complaints, and I can't find the charger for it. Fail. And before that I ordered a different one, which I didn't realize was not a, it was kind of a knockoff on Amazon, which I can't stand. Does that happen to you guys, where you search for something on Amazon and then it will automatically also search and show you search results that are knockoffs of that same product? But you searched for whatever you searched for, so you assume that that's the real deal, but no, it is not. I'm going to take off this bottom shield as well. Even though there's probably not any water in the bottom half of this phone, we're going to take it off just to be comprehensive today. Louis Rossmann, praise be to Jessa. I said I thought you did a good job. I was really impressed with you finding that iPad Pro backlight driver. Let's see if I can get this shield off without wiping off the whole board. This shield's a tough one. Burning my fingers! There we go. Alright, let's take a look under there. It must be the stripes. What are you talking about? Ooh, that's hot. Alright, let's see if I slid this board. I did not slide the board. Yay! Things are looking up today. Alright, looks good under that shield. And up here, it looks pretty good. We don't even have backlight driver area damage. So we've got some serious damage here on this LCD digitizer connector. So that, I'm not sure if we can recover from that or not. But this guy definitely needs a bath, so we will go drop him in Ultrasonic. And, whoa, Aaron E. says those stripes are awfully Hillary wardrobe-ish of her. Does Hillary shop at the outlets? I would be surprised, but what do I know? All right, so we'll leave our little ad up for Lewis while I go drop this in Ultrasonic. And let's look at the next board, which is also here for data recovery. This one is a 5S, and it says, data recovery, I dropped the phone in a toilet, yay! See, all these phones are dropped in toilets. I like it when they admit it. That's always a good sign. And I already tried to bring it back. to working condition and failed. I don't care about it working, just want data. Okay, let's see what's behind door number 2. All right, let's see. Connector J5 fucked. Well, we'll see whether or not that's true. All right, next board coming up. Let's take a look and see what we have on board number 2. Water damage. The digitizer connector looks pretty sketchy. Uh-oh. This better not be you have to get the girls, which I think it probably is. Sorry, can't do that. Can't do that right now. Okay. This looks like kind of traditional alcohol cleanup, where we can see that there was water on the board. We can see that green screen, some prison bars next time. That's pretty funny because I did order an orange jumpsuit because I thought that going to prison would be fun on stream, but my iPad rehab shirts that I wear pretty much every day are scattered who knows where, needing to do laundry. All right, so on this one we can see the water entry holes on the 5S, the classic place for this is kind of like piss holes. They got like a piss magnet in there, just attracts pee. So let's go ahead and take these shields off and take a look at what does this board look like underneath. Now I think this one will be a good example because you can tell that somebody has already come by with alcohol and a toothbrush. So all of the green corrosion is gone on this board and you're just left with the actual damage. But that really can't do anything under the shield. So this board has already been treated by somebody's best effort. Let's see what it looks like under the shields. iPad rehab. I'm sure that Louis Rossmann is not shipping to Asia. So which one of the merchants from AliExpress or any such platform will be best? I would encourage Louis Rossmann to ship to Asia. I mean, we do. We ship at iPad Rehab Supply. We don't sell chips, but all of the little tools and board holders and DC power supplies, you know, that kind of stuff, we ship internationally. So I'd be surprised if he doesn't. And the thing with ordering from someone that actually does repair is they're going to look at the chips. They're going to know whether or not the particular ones that are going out to you look like they have walked a day underneath somebody's boot or not. There's no one better vendor than others on AliExpress in my experience because it's just extremely hit or miss. They're going to sell what they can find. I guess I would say I would look for guys that are not selling huge volumes on AliExpress. You know, if these guys have like hundreds and hundreds of these chips available, then a lot of time that's because they have a high throughput reballing operation, and those tend to be the worst chips. All right, so looking back under the shield here. These shields were surprisingly easy to come off, so maybe the guy did take the shields off earlier. Alright, so this looks great. There's a little bit of corrosion right here. I don't know if you guys can see that right there. That's a little kind of salt bridge. And then here we go. I'm going to go with he didn't take the shields off because that definitely hasn't seen alcohol in a toothbrush. So this is that spot right under the piss entry holes on this 5S. So this guy needs to go through ultrasonic cleaner, but overall the board looks like it would hold power, so it looks like this is going to be just kind of a display and touch issue. We can also see a little bit of what looks like it's probably a burn mark there on that cap, so we'll remember that as well. All right. Orange might be the new black. LOL, get it? Ha ha ha. Okay, I'm going to switch this out and we're going to grab that first board. is the first board back. So after ultrasonic cleaning, then I scrub it with a hog's hair brush and some 99% isopropyl alcohol. And let's see if we can pick off the sticker and see how it looks under here. So these stickers, the adhesive under there doesn't like alcohol, so alcohol dissolves the adhesive pretty well. Heat just kind of makes them melt and they stay pretty sticky. So once you get some alcohol on there, then they usually come off nice and easy, usually. Okay. All right, so what do we have here? Let's look back at our damaged connector area. So this looks, after ultrasonic cleaning, like it's possible that we can rejuvenate this connector with a little touch-up on these joints down here. And, you know, I still see metal. I don't see any plastic damage, so that looks like it might be okay. Let's look back on our other side here. So this cleaned up really well. This was where all that salt and crud was earlier. So for this one, let's heat it up and just hit that connector on in a couple of spots, and then we'll go ahead and put some current and see where we're at with it. Hopefully it'll just boot right up and have no other problems. That would be great. All right, let's scroll down. PSA, tools and hardware in the description, and don't forget to like this stream. Yeah, tools and hardware in the description. We get asked that all the time. It's funny how people don't read. There was a kid today. This really blew me away. I was sitting here doing a 6S connector job earlier, and somebody walks in the door, and I hear him talking to Gene, and the guy's asking about signing up for Practical Board Repair School, which is very unusual to have an in-person, like a local person. We've only had like maybe 2, 3, or 4 local people that have actually taken our course. So this kid, I hear him tell Gene that he's just driven 5 hours to ask some questions about the course, which was really odd. What kind of questions did you need to ask that made you drive 5 hours? And so guess what his questions were? They were, how do you sign up? Answer, go on the website, click sign up. And then his other question is, where do people stay? Well, go on the website, click lodging details, and read that. I think that he was really just kind of having a fun day out today, and thought that he would go for a bit of a joyride, I guess. Personally, I would never drive 5 hours for fun in a million years. I think that sounds like agony. But then again, I drive a minivan, so maybe that's why. All right, let's go ahead and touch up this connector. Okay, I thought you teach here. Sure do. Anybody that wants to learn without coming to the course can watch YouTube videos all day long. YouTube is a great place to learn, for sure. But if you want to skip the years and years of frustration and come out to the course for our 5-day signature practical board repair school, everybody loves it. Everybody has a good time. And that's where we really teach you how to think and troubleshoot, and also teach technical proficiency. And you don't really have to know anything in advance, but the folks that do better are just ones that that are good analytical thinkers. People that are good at puzzles. They like troubleshooting and solving problems, and they kind of are practical minded. We had one of the best female students that we've ever had come through last time, all the way from Argentina. And Gabby actually had to ride a bus with chickens on it in order to get from her town even to the the airport. Then she had to take a plane to another country, and then another plane to get to the U.S., and then from there she had to take another plane to get to New York City, and then finally another plane to get to Rochester area. So she really did some serious travel, but she did fantastic. And even though she hadn't done a whole lot of soldering before, she was just innately good at seeing it as a system and seeing how parts go together and knowing what questions to ask. All right, let's see. I mean, who has a phone these days? What? All right. Did he actually drive 5 hours? He sure did. Well, his dad did. So I'm guessing that it was just kind of a father-son bonding day. But I didn't really even know what to say to him. Where I'm like, why'd you drive up here? And he's like, well, I just wanted to kind of check out the hotel, you know, where I'm going to be staying for 5 days when I come to the course. And I'm like, are you seriously that prissy? You got to come on and check to make sure there's no bed bugs at the Victor Microtel? He just laughed and then said, well, alrighty then, and went to go check out the hotel. I mean, it's kind of, you know, this is a tiny little town. Like there's not much going on. The shoe store that has been in business for 93 years just went out of business this week. So now there's even less excitement here in downtown beautiful, scenic Honey Eye Falls. You can see the waterfall. That's pretty cool. So being a nerd helps, yes. Tom is also from Argentina. Well, Tom, I hope when you come to Practical Board Repair School that you don't have to ride the bus with the chickens on it. That sounds a little tough. All right, so let's stick a dock and DC power supply on this 6S and see whether or not it will actually show us a good boot sequence. And if so, will it detect iTunes? And if so, will it produce an image? And if so, will it accept touch? And those are what we need to do. So another complaint on the tweezers. These are Dumont Inox 5 tweezers that I use. I use both the green ones and the blue ones. I think what I want to do for the next green screen stream is to put a YouTube complaint box that everybody can just write the complaints down. Last stream I did, there were complaints on Jessa looks tired, Jessa didn't stream for 5 days, Jessa's audio sucks, Jessa's camera angle was tilted. So we'll just throw all those together on the pile. But yes, I am aware that the link in my video descriptions for the tweezers that I like isn't working. We sell them at iPad Rehab Supply. So if you want, you can send a message to iPad Rehab and Sunday can hook you up with those. I'm not sure that I've listed them on the website. All right, let's see. So I've prompted to boot, and you can't see that over here because my hand camera that would be looking right at the DC power supply is it came, and I cannot find the charger. I think it came without a charger, so I have to order a charger. All right, I see no backlight, and oh, I do see an Apple logo. So I have image. And that's enough to prompt me to go find a dock. So I'm gonna dig up a 6S dock from behind I'm gonna go talk to Oz back behind the curtain here. And I'm gonna grab that other board out. right, so I've grabbed our other board. We'll let that dry, and let's see if there is a 6S dock. So if you're just joining us, don't forget to go check out our buddy Louis Rossmann, who is selling iPhone chips and connectors and doing a really great job of getting some good ones in stock and listing those on his website. We're both getting new websites, both me and Louis. He's probably going to beat me because mine, god damn it, there's no 6S dock in here. All right, I'm going to have to figure out where I put one. Where's the last 6S I put? Here's one right here. So we will just borrow all that. There we go. And let's see. So we're both getting new websites. He's of course getting the cheap web designer. I got the local biz web designer. So we really like those guys. They came out and talked to us, and we're really excited to see what they're going to build for us. And once we get our new website, then I will do a little bit more work with listing things on iPad Rehab Supply, which is pretty much things that we think that, you know, we try tools all the time. So little tools that seem to be hard to find or make a big difference, or something that we really depend on. All right, so I'm prompting to boot again with a dock. So we're going to leave this connected and listen to see if it detects USB, if it's detected by iTunes or not. And I'm not sure it's going to be, because it looks like it's showing a boot loop, and then it looks like it's getting a little hot. Yep, it's boot looping. So I'm going to disconnect that and see if with no USB connected, will it boot? Nope, it fades and boot loops. Fades and boot loops. All right, so let me try that with a battery just to rule out that there's some missing information from the DC power supply. So let's stick a battery on here and try the exact same thing and see what happens. All right. Can we keep English? All right, so with a battery, let's see if it is pulling any kind of charge current, which will give us a little bit of a clue. And you guys can see that along with me. All right, so here's a USB ammeter. All right, so that's a normal charging current. Let's see if it hangs on to that. That number down here, charging current, is more or less 1, so that's a good sign. I'm going to guess that this particular 6S battery is not charged up enough to make it boot, so let's switch that out and try a battery that is already charged. All right, so this battery, let's see if it's actually making any kind of image. Nope. I think that the battery connector itself is got a little bit hot. Let's look at it and see if we need to kind of shave it down to get a good connection. There's a little bit of melted sticker around that. I think that should still make fine connection. I'm not terribly worried about that. Let's just kind of look around here. All right, that looks like it's okay. Let's keep on hunting for a 6S battery, and this time I'm going to check the voltage on the battery until we find one that's actually 4 or so volts, so that we can predict that it would boot. All right, so we're going to measure the battery voltage. All right, so let's see. 3.78. A little bit low, but we'll give that one a shot and see if this phone is going to boot loop or not. All right, so I'm going to prompt it to boot by connecting it to USB. All right, let's see. Prompt, prompt, prompt. And I see Apple logo, and let's see if it boot loops. So I can see Apple logo. You guys are screwed. You can see nothing because my little GoPro camera does not have battery. All right, it seems to be doing the same thing, which is boot looping. So let's look back at that board and see if we can see any kind of a hardware reason for boot loop. I doubt it, but let's look back and see. All right, so let's check it out. Okay, so let's look thoroughly now at this board. All right, so we've got some damaged looking dudes around here. These guys are not required for the phone to boot, and I'm going to just knock that guy off. Oh, broke my scalpel. Oh damn, that's because this is Mark's not X-Acto knife. Gotta use my X-Acto knife. Should not have tried to use Mark's tools. All right, let's knock this dude off. There we go. Knock off the other guy. There we go. All right, let's look down here. Looks reasonably okay. I'm not sure. Let's get this sticker off. Probably should have taken this sticker off at the beginning. I see a little bit of schmutz there. Don't want anybody to be talking to anybody they're not supposed to. All right. Now down in this area, I'm going to take off this camera LDO chip just because it connects to VCC main. First, I'm going to take a VCC main reading. I think VCC main is probably fine, but let's just check. Let's check in diode mode on the health of the main power rail and see what it is. So a healthy main power rail is going to be something 0.3. So with red probe on ground in diode mode, we're going to find a random VCC main cap, and it's 0.291. So 0.29. Let's see, let's get a crisp reading. 0.296, 297, 298, 300, 302, 30, there we go, 326. All right, that, 322. All right, that's a normal VCC main reading. But let's go ahead and take off this camera chip just because there's not a whole lot of damage on this board, so we want to eliminate variables. All right, so let's take that off. So I think the 5S and 5C are the same. My car was stolen. What are you guys talking about? What? Immigration disease. DC power supply. I've got power supply cables, but it doesn't say 6S or 6S or SE. Yeah, so those are all 6 plus connectors. And it took me an embarrassingly long time to recognize that as well. So don't feel like you're the only one that didn't get the memo that everybody's using the 6 plus DC power supply to connect to 6S, 6S plus, 7 and SE. All right, there we go. And we can see that there definitely was some corrosion under that chip. The VCC main rail is, I think, that one. And this other dude up here is all cruddy. All right, so now we have dealt with that. All right, let's look back here at our at our connector area. All right, let's go ahead and take a check here on one of our image power rails and see whether or not that is normal or not. All right. All right, that is at 0.529. That seems normal to me. I see a little bit of corrosion here. And I'm just going to kind of clear away with some tweezers. All right, all of this now seems fine. And none of that seems like it's going to jump out at me as really horrible. Let's see, what's under here? Let's make sure this guy's not talking to anybody he's not supposed to. All right, connector looks fine. All of that looks okay. Backlight area looks okay. All right, let's flip over and look at this section where it was also pretty badly damaged. So this EEPROM chip I might be a little bit concerned about. And this cap looks particularly bad. So let's look up and see what line that's on. This cap also looks bad enough for me to be bothered by. All right, so let's look those guys up. So that means we need to head over to ZXW land, and this is an iPhone 6S. And let's drag you guys over to ZXW's screen, see if that's working today. All right, iPhone 6S. So the components that are jumping out at me as too ugly are this guy. So this is proximity power rail cap, so not going to be required to boot. And one of these guys, let's see, was it this one? Yeah, so this one, PP2V8 LDO 14, and it's a cap here, and it looks like it's going to be part of something to do with Wi-Fi or Bluetooth or cell service or something like that. I don't know, but in any event, this guy, if we just kind of pull this filter here, then we'll just eliminate him as well. And I don't think we're going to need him to boot. All right, so let's go back to the microscope. All right, so we definitely don't need this cap here. And because he looks so ugly, that's Mark's goddamn X-Acto. Need my X-Acto. All right, this is going to be a little bit of a challenge. I'm not sure if we'll be able to get him off nicely, but we'll try. There's so much underfill here that I would be hesitant to try to get him off any other way. All right, so let's just break him off. Get off the board, you scoundrel. All right, I'm gonna have to use a little bit of low heat to help get rid of the underfill so that he can fly away. So he can fly back home. Fly to Jesus. Let's get that out of there. One more question. I've got some kind of a new soldering iron with tips. That's not a question, that is a statement. Congratulations on getting your new soldering iron. Alrighty, let's Get this dude off. My tips are oxidizing. I'm using Louise's choice of solder. Well, I don't know who Louise is. There we go. That's off. If your tips are oxidizing, you need to, you know, turn your heat down and keep them tinned and knock that shit off. There's different brands of solder. I don't really think that's going to make a big difference as far as tip oxidizing. I'm going to get that guy out of there too. But you will notice a difference if you use the cheap, non-standard, you know, off-brand, the Rose Art instead of Crayola brands of solder, that they just they don't quite have that same consistency as the stuff made by guys that have been making solder for a bunch of years. All right. I thought she skipped it. What? I don't know why red on ground as a habit, always my black probe on ground. Is it a bad habit? Well, that is just a convention. You could absolutely put your black probe on ground and take all your diode readings that way if you want to, but you're going to have a tough time comparing that to anybody else because everybody else is using the convention of red probe on ground. And the reason why is because if you take black probe on ground, it's the exact same measurement, except it'll be sort of, you know, the red probe on ground gives you a low number, and the black probe on ground is going to give you that number sort of subtracted from 1. So your number with black probe on ground is going to be a high number, and that will make it really difficult for you to notice differences between your good board and your bad board. All right, so let's hit quit. Okay, and let's scroll down. Okay, use real tips as well. All right. A few days ago, I tried a bit around with temperature and some coils. Okay, great. And yes, you're right, the ferrite material does lose inductance if it is too hot. Great. Who knew? All right, so let's see now that we've made a few changes on this board. This is really all that I would do to rule out potential hardware problems. And if we still are getting boot loop, then we will conclude software problems, which is very likely and very easy to happen when you combine a phone that has that much damage if you try to boot it with its native battery, which is likely damaged as well. All right, so let's see. It looks like it's boot looping. I see Apple logo with a battery attached and prompting to boot. Let's keep looking there. I wish I could show you this, but it's a little bit of a fade, and that seems a little bit more CPU-like. So let's see if I can show you that or not. Let's see. I'm going to use the good old janky backlight so that maybe you can see. And let's see what happens if we prompt to boot with USB. All right, prompting to boot with USB. So let's look at that Apple logo and watch what happens to it. See it, how it fades? Look at that. Watch. See that? It kind of has this curtain fade. So to me, that seems a little less like straight up software corruption, although it could be, and that is probably worth it for me to consider like a display issue that is causing that boot loop or a CPU communication problem. All right, so let's look hard then at that display connector, and let's dig it out a little bit and see if anything jumps out at us. All right, Lewis, you forked tongue devil. What? I'm not saying I'm using 400 degrees C, but that's what the tip is rated. Soldering station controls temperature automatically. Well, I certainly wouldn't want to assume that a soldering station number means a goddamn thing. Here's how you know if your shit's too hot. Is it turning black? Yes? Should we believe the number? Well, that can't possibly be. It says it's not hot enough to turn black. Or should you say, my tips are turning black. Maybe it's too hot. Gee, I don't know. Still getting trolled on it. So Lewis, who I talk to every single day, had no idea how old I was as of a couple hours ago. He demanded to see my birth certificate, which I find a little inappropriately skeptical, but he is who he is. Alright, let's dig out some of this stuff and see what we can find. Let's see what we can find. Alright. If you say, Lewis, you fork-tongued devil, that means you're banned. I assume you mean U-R-E, you are, but I'm not the grammar police. Alright, this, I gotta see if it's the school. Nope. Yay. Alright. iPad Rehab was born in Kenya. Nope, no, iPad Rehab was born in Salisbury, Maryland in 1974 and went to kindergarten in 1979 and graduated high school in 1992 and graduated college in 1996. And iPad Rehab doesn't have the energy to look up and certainly not memorize shit to appear to be a mere 2 years younger than you think she is. Because that is insane. iPad Rehab was not born in August. iPad Rehab was born on March 12th. Alright. Alright, let's clean that off. You can have your phone on during work. Does your boss know? My boss? 43-year-old. You're a grandma. No shit. Yes, I'm aware. We can put that in the things that YouTube likes to complain about. I went to the gym the other day, and this is a depressing new low for being old. The dude there says you have to pay at the local gym every time you go, and the guy's like, are you 55? You know, because if you're 55, you only have to pay $2 instead of $4. And I wanted to smack him. No, I'm not fucking 55. God damn it. It is always fun to like, that's quite motivational to get to the gym and have the guy at the front door be like, are you 55? Nope. No, I'm not. Thanks for letting me know that I look like I could possibly be 50 fucking 5. Thanks, Brian. All right. Let's see. All right, so the first thing I'm really concerned about is this sort of classic, the classic reset line short. So that's really what I want to check for here. And just kind of look at that stuff over there. All right, so let's check for that classic reset line short and hope that that's not the deal. All right. 43 is still healthy meat, says Labo 1983, which I'm guessing is somebody that is about 10 years younger than me. All right, so let's check this. All right, so this is 0.360 and should be ground on the other side, which it is. All right, so that line is not short, so that's good news. All right, so let's check over here at chestnut area and see whether or not there's any sign that there was any kind of water in there. And I don't see that. So what I'm going to do is go back to DC power supply and see whether or not, it seemed like earlier it might be getting a little bit of a hot spot, in which case we'll check for where that is. Alejandro says the idea he has is to attach wires to the memory chip to provide power. Okay, you could do that and then upload using USB Connect. I hope you're not talking about an iPhone, because you're not going to get any kind of data off of an iPhone with a chip that is just hanging out in the air like that. All right, so we'll prompt to boot in the trust-based DC power supply. Louis Rossmann, can we have your opinion on some microscope? This, Louis, I can't stand it. Do you see this? Like, respond. I can't take it. Some dude was watching my channel where I'm fucking recommending your chips is saying, hey, Louis, who has never fixed an iPhone in his life, can I have your opinion on this microscope? Is it good for fixing iPhones? Oh my God, that just drives me crazy. Oh my God, it drives me crazy. All right, let's prompt to boot. Why do I do this at all? All right, let's prompt to boot and see what's going on with this thing. So it starts off with a fairly normal boot sequence, and then it seems to drop. Louis Rossmann, have you ever thought of using an iPad Retina screen for your microscope? Why would you do that? That doesn't make any sense. How would an iPad Retina screen have any kind of advantage whatsoever? All right, so the next step was, so this thing is still boot looping, and the next step is going to be to rule out just simple software corruption. So that's something that we have to do over there. So I'm going to move this one over, and we will look at the other board. So this one, I think it doesn't have any obvious hardware defects, and since it's showing signs of software corruption, and there's nothing else that is jumping out at us, next step would be to rule out software. You don't want to spend time trying to solve a software problem with hardware fixes. So we're going to move this over to update and pass that over to there. We'll keep the note with it, and we can look at this other board. All right. Chris Long, we have a playlist for iPhone board repair with like 2 videos in it. All right, let's see. All right, what's the diode reading on some lines near the PMIC? No idea if you're talking about this phone or not. Hey, Louis Rossmann, should I watch Jess's channel to learn how to fix iPhones, or your channel? Yeah, Chris Long gets it. All right, so let's take a look at this board now that it's out of ultrasonic. All right, so let's see. We have our same relatively minor stuff going on up this side, and let's see. Louis, can you help Jessa get her other cameras working so she can actually show what she's talking about? Yeah, Louis, you know what I was looking at today? The piece of shit microphone adapter that you made me buy that I never bothered to return. Wow, these caps just took off by themselves under here. All right, so given that amount of damage, the likelihood that chestnut, which is completely exposed, see there's no underfill there, the likelihood that chestnut is going to have damage under it is really high. Let's see if we can take a peek and look at his balls. Let's look for his balls. Let's see what they look like. Those balls don't look terribly bad. Can you see his balls? There we go. But there's a, you know, potentially there's a couple of marks on them. Let's see if we can get any other angles. I doubt it. I don't think he's going to let us look at his balls anymore. All right, let's go ahead and change out Chestnut just to eliminate that as a variable, since again this phone looks like there's not a whole lot wrong with it. Just I'm getting tired of seeing iPhones with no signs of damage that power off on off with no logo. Is this all CPU related, telling the PMIC to constantly reboot? Well, I mean, that would be just like this. Like, are they, I mean, depending on what phone it is, it's rollout software. So are you saying that you're seeing the PMIC outputs drop? Is that what you're saying? Because there are some that have something up with a PMIC reset line. All right, let's see. Okay, so let's go ahead and take Chestnut off. All right, maybe some iPad to repair. Lewis is a man, and most people take a man's opinion over a woman's. Just saying. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I mean, that's just absolutely retarded. Everyone knows that Lewis doesn't fix iPhones. So the idea of asking Lewis any kind of iPhone-related question on the channels of any of the people that do fix iPhones is silly. That'd be silly. I'm gonna go over to Lewis's chat and see if I can get people to ask me MacBook questions. I did get one the other day where somebody sent me a request that was describing a MacBook and wanting to know what I thought about it, because they had called up Rossmann Repair Group and Rossmann Repair Group said it was not repairable. Then it's not repairable. I'm not going to put time in something that Lewis says is no fix. Are you nuts? They also wanted to DIY repair it. Good luck with that. Good luck with that. I'm getting in trouble. Alright, so Chestnut didn't really look terrible underneath, but we have ruled that out. Alright, let's see. Let's send a message here that says, I'm streaming. If you would like to talk to me, please leave a comment on live stream. There we go. Done. Check balls every day. All right, so let's see. Let's clean this up and stick a new Chestnut. Am I the only person on Twitch here? Says Labo 1983, slightly under Clovan 200, who is also on Twitch. So I'm gonna go with no. No, you're not the only guy on Twitch. Not a lot of people watch this channel on Twitch, but maybe a few. All right, let's get these dogs off. Alrighty. Now that big cap that looks ugly is a VCC main cap. So let's go ahead and check our VCC main diode mode reading here. And since this is a 5S, it says 0.155, which we'll see whether or not that's normal. I know the 5S is lower than the 6s, but we'll see. All right, let's stick another Chestnut back on there. All right, so for you guys that haven't been watching this from the beginning, we are going to do a little plug today for my friend Louis Rossmann, who has done a great job selling chips for iPhones. Even though he doesn't fix them, that's okay. He can still identify and get those chips. So I was particularly impressed because I needed a really hard to find chip that we couldn't find anywhere, the iPad Pro backlight driver. And, you know, this guy kind of needed it like right away. So I was like, Louis, why don't you stock that? And he did. So he went out and found that. And I am really think he's doing a fantastic job. He is being really comprehensive with the chips that he is getting on there, and he's, you know, just kind of as affordable as everybody else, a little bit cheaper sometimes. So I think that he's doing a good job, and I want to support his shop for chips, mail-in repair, mail-in.repair. All right, let's go. Hako needs to lower the price on those hot tweezers. We'll throw that in the complaint department. Hako needs to sell the shit they're discontinuing, they don't even want to have around, for even cheaper. All right, I want to make sure that I get my chip in the right orientation. So I'm going to go back to ZXW and just check on that really quickly. All right, so the A1 pin is at the bottom there. All right, so we will take a look and stick this in the right orientation. That's the thing. I saw Lewis was having a chat on white privilege and whether or not white privilege is a thing or not. I think it is a thing, and I think that it is one of those things that's hard to notice because it's very subtle. And I think it's probably really similar to the kinds of also very subtle sexist privilege kind of thing, like the idea that that, you know, like in my life walking around the world, my general opinion is that I don't get a whole lot of different treatment because of being female instead of male. Even working in a male world, I don't feel that it's difficult. In fact, sometimes it's an advantage. It's kind of a novelty to be the chick who's microsoldering stuff, and people, you know, might pay attention more because you're a female rather than male doing the exact same job. But every now and then, you know, you'll see and hear comments like, you know, like Teddy here, who has the balls to write on my channel, like, well, you know, Lewis is a man, so obviously people are going to listen to him more than you. You know, ridiculous things like that. No one will ever say that to a guy. So I think things like that, when I think about how many things am I unaware of as a white person that I'm not hearing, those little tiny nuances and subtleties that you don't really get, that other people do. And I think that's what this concept of white privilege is. And I think that's also why it's really difficult to notice. If you're, you know, it's these tiny, tiny little differences. My example was when someone goes to a furniture store, you know, and there's a white guy there dressed exactly the same as a black guy. They get there at the exact same time. I bet the black guy would notice if the white guy got waited on first, even if it is, you know, kind of seemingly random. This needs a little bit more flux. Let's see. Here we go. Lewis giving her money is a waste. I should give it to the poorer repair shops. What are you talking about? Gotta scroll back and see what that is about. Lewis, the rich lady giving you a plug. You in the money now. Who is the rich lady? I don't know any rich ladies. Because he sells the chips, really, in a way, he is fixing iPhones. Think about it. Wow. Jeez. That is possibly an even worse comment. You know, because Walmart sells baby food, really, they are solving world hunger because they're feeding babies. So, you know, it's the same. No, come on. What about Jason's micro soldering supply? I'm a huge fan of Jason. I love Jason. And I absolutely buy things from Jason as well. Jessa, did you notice iPad Pro won't charge after burned components replaced? Burned when connect screen? No, that seems pretty independent. It sounds like it sounds like you disconnected the battery in order to do the repair, which is great. Those battery connectors are really, really finicky. They'll bend those pins if they don't have that perfect under the microscope exact connection, then they're not going to charge. So it's probably going to be something like that. Lewis giving her money. Wait, where is Lewis giving me money? Tell me that. Lewis giving her money is a waste. I should give it to the poor repair shops. That doesn't make any sense at all. One, how do you have you? This really bothers me. You guys recognize that that this business here supports 7 families, and I don't think that anybody here has ever looked at any kind of iPad rehab financial statements, and after a while it's kind of, you know, a funny troll, but when it turns into actually people kind of threatening my ability to feed the families that depend on this business because of a joke about, you know, an unfounded joke about you know, Jessa the rich lady, that's not funny anymore, and I want to, you know, knock that shit off. All right, let's see. All right, let's get that sucker back on here. All right. Move, little chip, dance. There we go. All right. Jessa is paying her fair share for what? It's iPhone repair time. I am not associated with this woman. She stole my URL and put it in the video. All right, we're done. This is not fun anymore. All right, I'm gonna, let's see. I'm gonna see what this, what am I gonna do here? I am going to take that away and be done with that. All right. There's no such thing as privilege beside earned privilege. Nope. Lewis, she steals your ideas. Let's put some more flux. Jesus Christ. How come your capacitors don't fly away with the air? That's not possible. You show me a video of making a capacitor fly away with air. Let's see. Jessa, would you like to add that to the complaints department? Yeah, I think I'm going to go with the complaints department list. All right, let's see. Okay, so let's see. I think we're going to need to have back that big boost cap there. So let's go on a hunt for a donor board and see what we can do. Donor board. What up, Gene?
Just check
For what?
this one.
Somebody pays with a check.
Yep.
A local person?
No, it was sent in the mail.
Oh, okay.
Although it's in New York.
Okay. It's really hard to find stuff with this green screen hanging up here. Oh, we need a 5S donor board. Trying to just do some data jobs and get the hell out of here. The girls, I think, are like abandoned, I think. Where is this? Alright, I doubt that any of these boards are going to have that cap on it because I'm sure I've already stolen them, but let's take a guess. Alright. Add to the complaints department. Yes. Your stream at its worst is 20 times better than my live chat or comment section. Oh, I don't know about that. I am jealous. Alright. $50. Wow. It sounds like I missed a donation and I don't know who it was from. let's see if we can look over here on Bona. Paul donated $50. Well, thanks, Paul. I appreciate that. That is very, very kind of you. All right, let's go back to here. All right, dropped frames. Not really. We have. Oh yeah, we've got some at the bottom. All right, female privilege. It's a matter of perspective. Jessa looks way taller and larger than you. Fantastic. This is such a great stream. Everybody is a little bit more frightened of her than of you. Wow. Did you hear that, Jean? I'm bigger than Lewis, so everybody's scared of me. Wow. That is something. All right. Let's see. Not that one. Not that one. Let's see. Nope. That's a 5C. And that one is already stolen. God damn it. All right. I gotta go hunt down a fresh 5S donor board, which I know I have under here. Let's try to move this table. All right. This is gonna work. Those are 5. Those are the 5S donor boards. Those are 4s. Those are 4S's. These are also 4S's. This is going to be hard to find. Give me a 5S. Give me a 5S. Come on. None of those are 5S. God damn it. Alright, we're going to have to steal from one of these student demo boards. Alright. I like the microscope cam in the background. Yay, somebody likes something for once. We haven't heard anything about anybody liking anything for a long time. That's a 5C. That's fucking raped. Wow. Nope. 5C. Come on. There we go. We found one. Alright, so I need to stick these in the remember to put back pile over here. Alright. Farming simulator. Wow. Alright, let's stick that there. Okay. Jim LaBoost, did you just say larger? Yep, he sure did. While true, even though Lewis can kick my ass, but still. That's just such a funny thing. It's all just so hilarious. Like in reality, there has been a time in my life where I was laying on the floor thrown down on the floor by Louis Rossmann with his shoe on the back of my neck, and here somebody on my stream is saying, yeah, but Jessa, you're just so much taller and larger than Louis. We're afraid of you. We're not afraid of him. That would be a mistake. That would be a mistake. All right, let's get this off here. Okay. Let's suck off his cap and his brother next to it. There he goes. Alright, this one we're going to protect the NAND chip so that we can get him back on there. And I'm going to stick him on just temporarily with an iron, and then I'll grab the other one and we will only put heat on there once to get both of those guys back on. Except I don't know where he went. God damn it. Alright, he's over there. Alright, mini hot tweezers are on. At least I think so. Alright, let's stick this back in there. Alright, let's get that tacked on so he doesn't move. And let's grab this other guy. It's possible we could get him with mini hot tweezers, although it would be tough. But we can try. Tomorrow I'm flying out to California to go to the iFixit Unconference and catch up with industry people out there. We'll see whether or not that... I think that sounded fun when we were gonna all go from Team iPad Rehab. And then we had the litany of cancellations. So Mark is in the path of the hurricane, so he can't really abandon his wife and kid in order to go gallivanting off to California for fun. And then Christy's kid broke his leg yesterday, so that sucked. And in the end, it's going to be probably just me or just me and Christy from iPad Rehab Team. We're definitely looking forward to seeing other industry people that we used to see at CTIA. So I really think it's great that iFixit is putting on this event, since, you know, going to CTIA is not cool, since they gave us a big middle finger to the repair community this year. Alright, Jessa should... Is this a 5S motherboard you're working on? Yes. Jessa should get more donations. She gives away a lot of good free information. Yes, I do. Yeah, and she does nice things, like support her friend with links to his site, despite constant bitching. Alright, let's see what happens. Okay, so now I think this one, maybe we can touch up this digitizer connector a little bit. And let's see. Alright, that seems like it's okay. Time to see whether or not this device will hold power or not, which again, you can't really see. I can only imagine how many phones that would have been trashed have been returned to their owners thanks to Jessa. Well, thank you for that, Lewis. All right, let's see what happens. All right, so we're gonna connect to the good old blind DC power supply where you guys can't see, And it consumes 0 before prompt to boot, so that's good. Let's go ahead and click this power button and see if it consumes a boot sequence. So it's hanging out at 90 milliamps and flashing around a little bit, which is okay. It's still kind of flashing around. Let's see. There it goes. All right, so it's showing me on DC power supply a current consumption that has a signature. And once we get the camera so that you guys can see that as well, sometimes I've turned it around, you can find that in old videos, then we'll see whether or not that actually can boot. So once I see a relatively normal or something that could be normal-ish on DC power, then I want to go ahead and see whether or not it can actually boot. So that means grabbing some known good parts. So let's find the bin of 5S parts. Put shoe polish on the eyepiece, rubber on the microscope before I left today. So tomorrow I hope to arrest the guy that is adjusting my scope. That sounds like a pretty good joke. All right. Louis Rossmann would donate, but he spent his money on 20,000 shares of some penny stock, and it just went to 68 cents before close. Right, so sell, duh. What's wrong with you? All right, let's get a screen. Okay. All right, let's keep going. Louis Rossmann, I bet she did. I felt bad for you, man. You had not means to escape the abuse. Not even freeze spray helped. No, not that video. No, there is no video of the many times that Louis has thrown me down stairs or whatever. No, the particular time I'm talking about is Louis Rossmann throwing me on the ground and putting his foot on the back of my head. That is pretty typical Louis behavior. So I don't really think that you guys are got all your facts straight there if you want to be afraid of poor little old Jessup for kicking your ass. I've tried to kick his ass many times and failed. All right, let's see. Where is a 5S battery? Why are my parts not in their buckets? I think they are all in the middle of recoveries, which sucks. All right, I'm going to grab a 5S battery. 5S battery. Okay, let's see. iPad rehab. If you want a quick way to make money, Louis is looking to buy a new modem. Yeah, me too. I need a serious new modem. Our internet sucks. All right. Okay, so let's see. What happens if we prompt to boot with a battery? Do we get image? Not on this screen. Nope. All right, let's go back to DC power supply and see. Yeah, you guys, we really need to get that hand camera working. I think that will really improve these data recovery streams, because these leave a lot of guessing. All right. So I still see no image when I prompt to boot with DC power supply. It consumes a normal startup current. It would be really nice if I would actually get a DC power supply that did output to USB so that it could plug into the open broadcaster thing. All right, but there's no image. and it's hanging out at 130 milliamps after a while. So let's see if we can feel any heat from that. Where is it getting hot? Why is it hanging out at 130 milliamps? Let's find it with our face. Gotta find it. All right, so what I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to question back in that same area. This is really kind of the major area, you know, major damage spot. I am going to get rid of the backlight driver, and I'm going to get rid of this cap just on the basis of its corrosion, just to eliminate variables since those look damaged and I'm not getting it to boot and connect to iTunes. So some of those data lines that are under backlight driver could be getting pulled down due to some kind of corrosion under there. So let's get that off. All right. Why does Lewis never do that with MacBook boards? He used to. Honestly, I think that the reason he doesn't use his face anymore is because he's it's like ever since he started being a vegan, then he's like doesn't do stuff like that. Lewis has not wiped enough ass in his life. He hasn't changed enough diapers to not give a shit about things like this guy's toilet phone on your face. But I know that he used to. That was the first thing we talked about when we originally met. It was cool to find another person in this world that put their faces on piss-soaked boards to find shorts. There we go. Look at all that corrosion under backlight driver. See that? Let's look. Let's try to flip him off. Alright, so there was a lot of corrosion there under backlight driver, even though Chestnut itself really didn't have a lot of corrosion. So there we go. So that, see all of that schmutz? That's not cool. So that kind of really goes with our working theory, which is that this phone can't boot because some of the CPU chatterbox lines go under that backlight driver, and if the CPU is issuing instructions on a CB radio channel that's going, you know, because it's getting pulled down by bridging to other lines under the backlight driver, then that can be one reason that you'd get a finding like that. So let's clean up these pads and just get rid of that corrosion so that none of these pads are talking to each other. And then we'll see again. I think he's on your way to my store now. Nope, he's never ever set foot in this store. Alright, okay. Let's clean it up. Okay, let's see if that makes any difference. And then real men use their nipples. Real men use their ball sacks. Everybody knows that. That's the real wage gap in board repair. It is a completely unfair anatomical advantage that men have at board repair in the ability to locate that precision component with their God-given scrotums for heat detection of shorts. So unfair and so little used. No one really takes advantage of their amazing God-given talent for board repair and short detection. All right, let's see if that makes any difference as we prompt to boot. Sorry, real men use their wives' nipples. I don't think there's any men that are like that. All right, so now I still don't see an image. That could just be the screen though. Let's watch what DC power supply is kind of hanging out around 480 milliamps and kind of flickering around a little bit. Now it kind of went a little bit higher. Went up to 1. All right, let's see whether or not it's actually booting. So we're going to give it a chance to be detected by iTunes. All right. Whoa. All right. Lewis uses alcohol for detecting shorts. He does use alcohol, but remember, MacBook boards and iPhones are completely different. You would have to have an incredibly unusually strong short in an iPhone to be able to do that method. It doesn't really work. All right, it's possible. Russian guys use thermal receipt tape. You know, some people still clonk around with the stupid FLIR cameras. I will use freeze spray at times, but certainly the easiest, it's always available and very surprisingly effective, cheap method to use is your own face. I'm going to stick a different screen to see if this thing is making an image or not. Roy bought a power supply with USB. So you found a DC power supply with a USB output of like the numbers? That sounds cool. Needs some more hardware to the computer. Oh, that stinks. Having to figure out something sounds like a pain in the ass just for that benefit. Thermal receipt tape. Yeah, none of that works very well. I mean, otherwise we'd use it. So, you know, have at it. Everybody kind of likes what they like. I like face because it's safe. It definitely doesn't harm the board. And it'll just tell you. I mean, you're really just, it's real unusual to have a short that you can't see in the component itself. So you're just really getting a guess of basically what side of the board is there potentially a short circuit, and then you're going to use your eyeballs. Okay, so I do have image. I have an Apple logo. I have an Apple logo, and we'll see whether or not what happens as this thing tries to boot. All right, so this DC power supply current is swirling around, which is good, and it's making an Apple logo, and we're just going to hang on and see what it can do. iPad Rehab, did you catch Sumith Thula Sidaran is asking about PBRS. Ooh, I hear this phone detect. Yay! Let's see if iTunes sees it in normal mode. No, I didn't see a question about PBRS. All right, let's click over and see what does iTunes say about this. All right, so iTunes is detecting that. I'm going to have to go open up iTunes. Where are you, iTunes? Let's see. If males use scrotum heat detection, why can't females use vulva heat detection? Well, I'll tell you the answer to that. Okay, this phone is detected. It is detected by iTunes, so we'll show you guys that, and then we'll answer your biology question. All right, so here we are. This phone is detected. There it is. So we've got our phone booting now, so that's good news. All right, so we'll come back here. So the question is, why can't you detect heat with sticking it on some female genitals if you can with males? And the reason is because of why we have scrotums to begin with. So who knows why? Why would you put something like a scrotum on the outside of the body? Isn't that a little bit bizarre? So I'm going to go ahead and change over to battery and see if we can boot this thing off of a battery. What is the purpose? Why not just have testes like ovaries inside the body? Why not? What do you guys think about that? There's a reason What do you think is the reason why testes, the heart of human evolution and reproductive biology, are hanging out in 3.8? God damn it. I would really like to not have to ask this phone to charge. Why are testes hanging out on the outside of the body? That seems a little cray-cray. What do you guys think? Because balls can't stand in internal body temperature. Yes, that is correct, Andrew. So testes do sperm formation, and sperm formation requires a few degrees less body heat than the rest of your body. So yes, in order to make sperm, you gotta hang that shit on the outside of the body. And as a result, because temperature is such a big deal, so you guys can see the Apple logo with my janky screen, and we'll see if this phone can actually boot and have touch. Yeah, so temperature regulation, and therefore that kind of leads to our answer to our question, that the scrotum itself is only there because of temperature regulation, and you gotta make sure that sucker doesn't get too hot. You can see what it does. It shrinks up and it comes out. It's all about, it's ice cold out here. Let me try to climb back up close to the body. All right, so this is hopefully gonna come to full display. We'll see. Come on, motherfucker, you can do it. So we'll hang on to that, and therefore that's going to make the scrotum itself have a lot more temperature sensitivity than vulva, which is the answer to why it is the unique male advantage. All right, good. So let's see if we have touch. All right, and I think that we do. Let's see if we have this guy's passcode. Come on, mofo. What's your passcode? Come on, passcode. All right, he printed this on two. He didn't print his passcode on here. I'm going to check his ticket, though. I'm going to check his ticket, and this guy better have his passcode in the ticket, or he's getting held at. Show me your passcode. Passcode need. God damn it! That shouldn't be put in my queue until we have the password, but what do we do? Okay, so that's another frustrating repair. So we have this guy has a path to data, but until he answers us about his passcode, so there we can see his lock screen. So that's all good. And as soon as we get his passcode, then we will get him recovered. This ball tack has to be grossed out. Crossed out or grossed out? We don't really know. All right. Is it Practical Board Repair School? It was cost about $1,000 something, about 5 days. Here's the deal with Practical Board Repair School. If you want to come to Practical Board Repair School, that's fantastic. But in order to do well at Practical Board Repair School, you have to, you have to want to learn technical proficiency. But you can learn technical proficiency by watching YouTube and just practicing long enough. Coming to the school is really where you learn how to think. So at the school, we'll teach you how to address any problem, how to read a schematic, how to follow it, how to understand the different ways that a line could fail, and to use a multimeter to figure out what those faults are, figure out what all the little dudes on the board do and how they fail and how to measure them. And that requires a mindset of analytical reasoning. And people that do really well in the course, the thing they all have in common is not how much experience they had coming in, where in the world they live, they're all over the world, or whether they went to college or grad school, or whether they never even finished high school. None of that matters. The only thing in common between all folks that are really good at figuring out these faults and solving boards is that they all love puzzles and figuring things out, and they have a really good grasp of logical reasoning. Like, okay, what are the possibilities? I guess it could be this, 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 and of those, this is most likely. How would I rule it out? And they become just more and more efficient, but they have that sort of bones, that logical reasoning. And we find that people that don't do well at the course, just they can be taught the same material, but they can't organize it in a really logical way to kind of think with analytical reasoning. So one of my sort of tests for that would be, on your own, can you figure out how you would sign up for Practical Board Repair School? I'll give you a hint. Go to the iPadRehab.com website. That's the only hint that you need. Go to iPadRehab.com and figure it out. If you have to ask questions, then there's going to be a language barrier, which is totally fine. If you aren't able to navigate from the website to read what's going on and to click links and figure out how to sign up, just like that simple act. Logical people will be able to figure that out. And if you struggle with that, then you're probably going to struggle with the course. So that's my answer to how to figure out how to end up going, whether or not you should come out to the course. All right, so we have one in the done pile, one in the need to rule out software pile, and then we'll circle back to that one. And for you guys that are just kind of joining here at the end, this was a shout out to my friend Louis Rossmann, who has started supplying iPhone chips, and he's done a really good job. I've been very impressed with how he has comprehensively gone out and got those hard to find things like the 6S backlight cap. That's, if you try to order that from Mouse or DigiKey, it's going to be a wait of weeks and weeks for their lead time. And he is really, done a great job being a comprehensive source. He impressed me, and I agreed to, I volunteered to do this video for free for Louis because he found for me the iPad Pro backlight driver that I needed, and I really appreciate that because that saves me a ton of time, and it's going to get somebody's repair turned around a lot faster than if we had to go find that. So there you go. And let's see. All right, so I think that's it, and we are done for today. We'll see you next time.